Welcome to the Whole Person Parenting Podcast. We're here to have honest conversations about how to follow Jesus and parent kids in a whole person way. For more content and encouragement as we support you on your journey, you can find us on Instagram, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts. We're so glad you're here. Now let's jump in. All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome to the Whole Person Parenting Podcast. My name is Presley, and this is my mom, Val.
Hi.
I call her mom.
Yep.
But we're so excited that you would join us. We are in the first development episode of the series, Are We There Yet? Which is designed to kind of feel like a road trip as we go through the different stages of development and psychological, spiritual, relational development. So looking at it in a whole way that doesn't just focus on one, but it realizes that we are beings that have a lot of different parts of us.
Yeah.
And so if we were to look at that through the eyes of a kid or a teenager or a baby, what does that look like?
Yeah. And how do we parent along those different stages? And thanks for bringing that up about that. Yeah, just bringing us back and grounding us back to the why do we look at it that way? And that's really because we're created in the image of God, and so are our children, and so that means that we're multifaceted. We are spiritual, we are relational, and then we also have our bodies and our brains that are working.
The physical.
Yeah, the physical. So, so I'm excited because we're going to talk about infancy.
And this is she'll never say it, but this is like your specialty. Yeah. This is what your expertise is in. Is
spent a lot of time in this work.
0 to 5 range. That's where your endorsement is at. Which is really cool. Yeah. If I'm saying that right. Yeah. So this is going to be a fun conversation because it's something I love hearing about. I love learning about from you and from other things. And then that's something that you have a lot of experience in.
Yeah. And I think it might be even relevant to say that I actually, when I started as a therapist, I intended to work with adults. Then I worked with teenagers, and then I worked with kids in like late younger and younger, and really, and I work with adults in my practice now, but I really, I could see clearly that much of what was going on and much of what was presenting problems in the here and now, whatever stage of life that was, whether it was adulthood or, the teenage years, middle childhood, that a lot of it started in infancy and early childhood, and specifically in their the parent-child relationships that they had and the caregiving environments that they were exposed to. And so it's really what drove me toward working with this population versus I think there are some of my colleagues out there who just like love babies. And it's not that I don't love babies. I do. I mean, who doesn't love babies? But really my drive was to try to intervene as early as possible to hopefully reshape, outcomes for people that I was seeing later in life, and understanding how formative these, and we know these are formative years, but these are even referred to as like critical periods of life. And so I think it's important to know that in that, that first 3 years of life, your brain has about 1 million synapses per second. Wow. That's how fast your brain is wiring. So synapses are all of the different wirings that are happening in your brain, and and your brain is wiring around what's going on in your environment. Like, what is a child exposed to? What are they experiencing? How are they interacting with others in their world? And so the parent-child relationship, we kind of alluded to this in the last episode, but the parent-child relationship is vital to how the child develops because they're the ones who are providing that primary care for the child, that instrumental care, which is, the diaper changes and the nursing or the bottle feeding or the feeding, and they're responding to them when they cry. They're doing all of that direct caregiving, that hands-on nurturing caregiving.
Yeah.
And so the child's brain is really developing around that responsiveness that the parent's having.
Does that mean that I feel like there can be like stigmas that like there are certain roles that each parent has, but does that mean there should be like an intertwining between them? So like who always changes the diapers, or like who wakes up in the middle of the night to go care for the child, or like those sorts of things?
Yeah, do you mean that they should be designated, or is that
well, yeah, so what's the benefit of, is there a benefit to having it designated, or is there no benefit and each parent should be doing both of those things to build the relationship?
Yeah, actually the latter is true. Okay. Yeah, so that's a great question. And it's I think it can be thought of as like a wise approach, and it's not like that's completely detrimental. If we're talking about instrumental care, if we're talking about, okay, it's my turn to change them, now it's your turn to change them.
Okay.
If you're trading off, that's one thing. But
if it's only the one person,
it's only the one person who's ever responding to the child's needs. So think about those, whatever the need is, whether it's the diaper change or whether it's, you're crying and now I'm trying to figure out what you need and I'm responding to your cry. It's just that both caregivers would be, those who are, assuming there's two caregivers in the home, which I know that's not always true. But, if there are two caregivers in the home, or if there are, more than one person in some communities and some, cultural groups, there might be many people caring for the child, but that they are all being responsive, whoever it is, are consistently being responsive to the child's needs. That's what's important. And essentially that relationship can only be built through that caregiving process. Mm-hmm. So if you have only one caregiver who's really doing that, then what you might see is a lag, or a lack of dependency on the caregiver who doesn't respond to those needs. A lag in relationship, or a lack of dependency.
I feel like I remember the first time like really having a conversation with you about what infant, mental health, what it was and what that looked like, and it was kind of mind-blowing to me. So I'm kind of just thinking in the minds of the listeners of just probably like, what, why is that, like, I never thought about this as a thing.
Yeah.
And maybe it was different for me too, because I've never had children, and so like maybe for people who have had children, it's maybe a little easier to comprehend, because they can look down into a face and see like, okay, this thing can think,
yeah,
and like this has needs, and like it's a living thing,
Yeah.
But I think it's hard to comprehend that maybe like it's still the baby is still like, not that it's still human, but the same things that would make anyone upset can make the baby upset too.
Yeah, dysregulation can happen.
Yeah, like if someone's screaming at it, the baby,
yeah,
that would, like, in the same way that it would upset a teenager or upset a middle school or upset a elementary school, like that could be upsetting to a baby as well, if that makes sense.
Oh,
like,
yeah, for sure.
So I mean, like, I think it's just,
and maybe even more so because they're more vulnerable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's easy to think of it as like this passive thing, and or it's just a baby,
Yeah.
Or
like it's
maybe like
baby,
adding the
not,
just to it is what I think can be like, well, he just needs food. He just needs
Right. As long as I feed the baby, as long as I change the baby's diaper, as long as I make the baby go to sleep, that these instrumental care needs are like the needs of the baby. And yeah, I mean, I think there are those needs,
but I think there's more.
There is more, and then there's kind of the next level, the next kind of layer of that might be the child needs as they get into maybe like toddlerhood. Then now the child needs rules, or the child needs direction, or the child needs to learn, and those are places that a lot of parents will prioritize because they want the child to be successful. They want them to be respectful. They want them to be obedient. And once again, those are not bad things, just like feeding and diapering and all those things are not bad things either. They're necessary. What can often be missed, though, is the relational needs of the child. And it's something that we don't think about, but is so obvious once you know it, to think about how we are from the very beginning. And this is the way that God created us, that he created us for relationship. When he created man for relationship with him. And whenever he saw that man was not satisfied because he didn't have anyone of his own kind, he created a partner for man, so that he could have someone else. So he created man for relationship with himself first, with God himself first, and then he created man for relationship with other people. And so that is ingrained in us. It is how we were created. And so from the very, very beginning, you see that babies are hardwired for relationship. For instance, when a baby can see, as far as they can see when they are born, is about the distance from the cradling arm to the mother's face.
Wow.
And that's by design. That's because the baby needs to begin to lock eyes with the mother as they're being cared for, so that they can start connecting and understanding that I have a person who is here to care for me. Yeah. And that really is the task of infancy and early childhood, is to learn dependency on the caregiver, to know that I can be completely safe, I can be cared for, I can be nurtured, I can be taught by, I can be protected by, this person. And whenever I go to start exploring my world, like when crawling begins, and I start moving away from you,
there's this person I can come back to.
That's right. There's someone that I know is my person that I know how to get back to. And so really we're kind of speaking to the attachment piece, which we won't get entirely into because it's its own long topic to begin to talk about, which we can talk about attachment at some point.
Yeah.
But it really is interesting, though, because developmentally, when attachment comes, it's about the time that the child becomes mobile. So attachment needs to happen around that time.
Because they have to come back.
Because they have to know who to go back to.
And if they have no one to go back to, then that creates the insecure attachment.
So it's just further, supporting that, what we talked about in the last episode, that idea. And if you haven't listened to that one, I encourage you to go back and listen. But that idea that relationship is the foundation for development. So if the child doesn't know who to go back to, if there hasn't been an attachment formed, or if the attachment is insecure and it's anxious, then they don't go exploring the way that they're supposed to. Well, then maybe they don't learn the things that they're supposed to learn, or maybe they don't develop physically the way they should because they are not, they're not trying to get mobile the way that they need to. Maybe they don't socially interact with others the way that they need to because they don't have a safe base to return to. So they don't go exploring that safe base, needs them.
So when the parent acts as that safe base, that safe person to always come back to through these ages, it's like the child's first representation of what God is like.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I feel like that's probably going to be a common thread throughout the series, and something that we've talked about in the past is that like a parent is the first representation of God in a kid's life. Because, I mean, babies, they just came from heaven. They just came from God.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But on earth, it's like.
Yeah. God's placed the babies into the care of people.
Yeah.
Right. And so he has created us to care for others, right? But yeah, often it's that relationship, and even the attachment relationship becomes like a template for relationships, and that includes our relationship with God. It's a set of expectations that we go in relationships having. Will I be able to depend on you, or will I not? I learned that through my caregiver. I learned that when I cried, somebody was there for me. And so now when I go into relationships with others, including my relationship with God, I know that if I cry to him, he's there with me.
Yeah.
If I have a caregiver who, when I cry, they tell me, stop being a baby and, move on, or would ignore me, then maybe that's how I expect God to respond. And so maybe I don't go to him when I'm upset. Maybe I don't go to him with my needs, because my experience and what's been wired up in me, in my brain, and in my experience, is that when I go to someone in relationship with a problem or with a need, then they're not responsive to that need in a way that is helpful to me. And so, yeah, absolutely, we do get that first picture of what it means to be in relationship, whether that's relationship with others or whether that's relationship with God in infancy. And so I think it's so interesting that whenever when we're infants, that the goal is for the infant to be fully dependent on the caregiver. Infants are not supposed to be independent, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they can't feed themselves. They can't change themselves. They're supposed to be protected. They're supposed to be safe and cared for and nurtured by their caregiver. So they're supposed to be wholly dependent on them. And this is the way God wants us to come to him. He wants us to be dependent on him.
Yeah.
Like he wants us to come to him for our needs.
Yeah.
Because he wants us to know that he's always there. And that's not to say that there's no, as we grow and mature in him, that there's not changes in the relationship, but he wants us to know, like, I am the secure base. I am the one that you can come back to. I'm always the one that you can run back to. We see that in the story of like the prodigal son, even, that there's a
for sure
a home to go back to.
Yeah.
And there are open arms waiting on the other, whenever there's the return.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a scripture that we have continually come back to, and just because I think it really demonstrates the relationship and dependency of God, or dependability of God. Which we've mentioned this on the podcast in the past, but Psalm 139, O Lord, you have searched me and known me. You know when I sit down and when I rise up. You discern my thoughts from afar. You search out my path and my lying down, and are acquainted with all my ways. Even before a word is on my tongue, behold, O Lord, you know it altogether. You hem me in, behind and before, and lay your hand upon me. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me. It is high. I cannot attain it. And here's where we find the consistency of the Lord. Is, where shall I go from your spirit, or where shall I flee from your presence? If I ascend at heaven, you are there. If I make my bed in Sheol, you are there. If I take the wings of the morning and dwell in the uttermost parts of the sea, even there your right hand shall lead me, and your right hand shall hold me. If I say, surely the darkness shall cover me, and the light about me be night, even the darkness is not dark to you. The night is bright as day, for darkness is as light with you. For you formed my inward parts. You knitted me together in my mother's womb. I will praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Wonderful are your works. My soul knows it very well. I think that's cool too. Is it's your soul that knows it very well, not your brain.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning even infants, they know it very well too.
Mm-hmm.
They
Yeah.
know it very well that they are wonderfully made. Their frame was not hidden from you when I was being made in secret, intricately woven in the depths of the earth. Your eyes saw my unformed substance. In your book were written, every one of them, the days that were formed for me, when as yet there were none of them. It's so good.
Yeah.
I think it just highlights just the character of God and how just constant and consistent he is.
Yeah.
I mean, you see it all through our lives. Everything that he has done throughout Scripture, the story that we are now living in, it's all centered around, the centerpiece, who is Jesus, who is God, that everything, he is like the sun, and everything revolves around him, So he is the light.
He's never changing.
Never wavering. Yeah.
He's the more dependable. I think it's so interesting.
He's more
that
dependable than we
he is
are,
the one
sure.
who knit
Yes,
us together
not
in
me.
our mother's womb.
That is interesting.
That he was,
even if your own human body wouldn't been able to form it, because he is the one who
he's the one who did
together.
that. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
That I was me being your mother, I'm like a vessel.
Yeah.
But for what God's work was.
Yeah.
And in creating you.
Being able to look down at a baby and knowing well, you're going to have a life where there's so many different options, but the Lord has planned out for you exactly what he wants for you.
Yep.
And from the beginning, you can trust that no matter if you feel like you're a bad parent, or if you feel like you've messed up, or if your child is messed up and all these things, the Lord knows the way out. He is the lamp
he's
that we
been
can
there.
follow, and he's been there.
Yep. He's been there from the very, very beginning, before we were even formed. And
before you ever met me, God knew me.
Yeah, God knew you. Yeah.
But you were the first one too, because I was grown inside of you. You birthed me.
Man. I did. I birthed you. Presley.
But even then,
so funny.
When you literally birthed me, Jesus still knew me first.
It's true. This is true. Yeah.
Which is just cool. It's really sick.
Yeah, and I think there's something there's a comfort in that. I mean, there's a comfort as a parent in that too, because I can be like, God, you know her better than I do. You know him, you know Braden better than I do. You created
exactly
them. You know exactly what they need. You know exactly what's going on, and I do my best to try to attune to needs and to consider, what I can do and to learn. But in the moments whenever I'm like, I don't know, I need to be wholly dependent on God. I need to practice this dependency that he has set up from the beginning, that he wants me to learn, or he wants you to learn, and he wants us all to have on him. And that includes...
And I think that's the purpose for infancy. Or maybe not. I mean, I don't want to guess God's purpose, but he's trying to show us from the beginning that from the beginning of our lives, the dependency and the level of dependency that we were meant to have on the Lord is like a baby's.
Yeah.
Like, as if you can't see more than a couple inches in front of your face, because you are designed to look first at the face of God to know where to go.
Yeah.
And everything that he designed is meant to reflect his glory
Yeah.
and his. So if
It
this
is
is
meant
if
to,
this is
yeah.
the first experience that we have in the world, then it should say a lot about what God
Right.
wants
For
in-
us.
for us.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's that first things, kind of like a law of first things that we hear from.
Yes.
We've heard Pastor George talk about a lot.
heard-
You know,
yes. The thing that happens
mhm.
first are the firsts are really important.
They are
The first thing that Jesus does in his ministry
Yeah.
is get baptized. Like,
Yeah.
and that's why we say that's why we know it's so important to get baptized, is
Yeah.
because that is, that's something that is, a declaration,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, the firsts, like, I mean, you think about like, in Israel, like wanting the firstborn sons,
Mm-hmm.
or with whenever the Israelites were pleading to get out of Egypt,
Mm-hmm.
and everyone who did not have their marked door,
Mm-hmm.
the Lord took the firstborn son. And so God cares about firsts. I think that's seen all throughout Scripture.
Yeah, the first 10th of your income.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's all of these.
And so if the first moments of our lives are not, I mean, he could have designed us any way he wanted to. He could have designed us as coming out of,
We could have been fully grown.
we could have been a fully grown person.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he could have designed it that we would spring from thought. You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? But he designed it within this intricate way
Yeah.
where you have to have certain things all come together in order for a baby to be made.
Yeah.
And 9 months of waiting and patience and
Right.
again, like a dependency, because like I think even the baby is even more dependent on the mother than ever before. I mean, it's having to depend on its nutrients based on what you eat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm getting into a rabbit hole, but I'm just thinking like,
I love
wow,
it. You're
there's
like,
a lot of like amazing things. Like it really is so incredible to think that the firsts are what he cares about, and
yeah.
he wants to show us something from it.
Yeah.
It's not the phase of life where you're just supposed to be waiting for the next one. I can wait till they finally talk. I can wait till they finally walk. All these things. And those things are amazing. Again, firsts are amazing. First words, first steps.
Mm-hmm.
But it was never designed to be a space where they're waiting. It's designed to be a dependent stage where they're learning more and more of how to be dependent on God. And parents are too. Like parents are able to see this dependency first.
Yes, and I think that can there's such a gift in that too, and in understanding like that what I'm doing with my infant, although this may seem mundane, although it's exhausting, although you're up at night and you're feeding and you're up responding and you're I got to do another diaper change, or I just changed you and now we've had a blowout and I've got to change you again and give you a bath and change your outfit again, and then maybe another blowout happens. I mean, this is real life, and you got to change your sheets in the middle of the night, and
I didn't realize you called it blowouts.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was a thing.
I think the parents will know what I'm talking about. But yeah, whenever you have this going on, this can feel like this is all consuming. But if you can reframe this and really see what God wants to do in this season for your child through you as their caregiver, like what if you thought about it like, I am helping my child learn that they can depend on someone, that what I'm doing now for them and the dependency that they're able to have on me is what they're going to be able to learn to expect from God. Yeah. And I'm showing them, this is early spiritual formation. I'm showing them who God can be to them, that he can meet their every need, that whenever they cry, that he's going to be there with them, that he's going to comfort them whenever they need him, that he's going to nurture them, that he's going to provide for them when they need something to eat, or they need clothing, or they need to be clean, or they need to be protected or need shelter, that he's going to be there for them. And so I'm getting a little teary, but it's such an important lesson to learn, like what is more important. And if we, as Christian parents, want to see our kids know God and know who he really is and know his character, then they can see his character in us, in our responsiveness to them and our care for them. And so, yeah, I just, whether your child's an infant, whether you're in that infant stage or you're pregnant and you're considering being a parent, or whether you're, maybe your child's a little older or even in the teenage years, like how can you show them that, I can be here for you, and let me point you to someone who is as consistent as I can be to give you the first look at what this can be like with you in a relationship with God. How can I point you to one who is even better and one who is even greater and who is even more consistent and who was there from the very beginning, even before I was. Yeah.
Yeah. So good.
So I think those are like a kind of next steps, is to just remember, just consider that whatever stage you're in, and if you are in this infancy stage, with your kids, or, the toddler years, and it feels mundane, or it feels like, so exhausting. I'm not going to say that you're not going to be exhausted, because it just physically, that's just how that works. Lack of sleep is hard, and that's a real thing. But to depend on the Lord in those seasons, and to know that, what's happening is by design, to trust him with it and trust that he's working in it, and that you're going to see the fruit of the season in time.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
He has something to teach you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Through what it looks like to have a dependency on him for even a few inches in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's Jehovah Jireh. He's the provider. He is what everything comes from.
Yeah.
All things are given to him. All authorities, all principalities, all powers, all the things have been given to him.
Mm-hmm.
And so
we're under him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, we pray this is a helpful episode and encouraging, even if you don't have a baby, or but if you know someone who has a baby and you feel like this would be helpful for them, then
share it.
Yeah, share it. I mean, that just is so loud. It's fine though. Yeah, if you want to use it as a resource, then please do. And we're just thankful that you guys listen, and
It's an honor. We'll be back
in 2 weeks.
Couple weeks.
To talk about the next stage.
Yeah. All right. So we will see you then. If you don't follow us already on Instagram, do that. Go follow us on the Whole Person Parenting, on our Whole Person Parenting page. Follow the Whole Person Parenting podcast on YouTube, and subscribe if you haven't already, or wherever you get your podcast. Subscribe to us. We would love to have you as regular listeners, and we'd love to hear from you too. So we'll see you next time.
Bye.